Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a man is facing sentencing after coming clean and pleading guilty on 2 charges of rape. Plus, police want you to be safe on the roadway this week and watch out for black ice.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Madison Carmouche and we are inching up to that 6 o'clock mark this Friday morning. Let's check in with meteorologist Megan Dusmall for a look at your forecast. Megan, it's Friday. We finally made it, and to make it even spookier, it's Friday the 13th.
It is Friday the 13th, but your forecast won't be that spooky. But maybe those morning temperatures might be a little bit on the spooky side because we're starting quite cold out for the day. We're in the 20s. Some places are at that 30-degree mark this morning, 30 in Pikeville, Somerset, 32 in Monticello. But the good news is we will be warming up. So as you're heading into your afternoon, it hopefully will be a much better Friday the 13th for you out there. Now we will have some quite heavy cloud cover as we're heading into the afternoon hours, but as of right now, we're just watching those clouds roll on in, quite light, but again, it will be increasing throughout the day, especially towards that 3 o'clock hour when we're having those high temperatures. And as you're looking at that day planner, well, there you go. You can see the increasing cloud cover throughout the day, and the high temperature will be reaching us around that 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock hour in the 50s. But as we're heading into your weekend, well, that's where those warmer weather will continue with the mid-50s. Madison.
All right, Megan, thank you. A Pike County man will soon be sentenced after pleading guilty to the rape of 2 children. WYMT's Buddy Forbes was in the courtroom and has the latest.
Jeremy Jewell, 33 of Pikeville, was indicted by a grand jury in February on 2 charges of rape and 2 charges of sodomy, with court documents referencing 2 sexual assault survivors who were under the age of 12.
We always work with the families of victims, especially in cases like this when our victims are minors, that we keep constant touch. We make sure that the victim's mother knows or guardians know what's going on in the case.
Jewell was expected to appear before a jury early next year, but his attorney contacted the Pike County Commonwealth's attorney ahead of his pretrial conference Thursday, asking for an agreement without a trial.
I had previously filed notice in the court record that I wouldn't make an offer in this case. But based on things I'm hearing from the mother, I thought it was in the best interest of the children to go ahead and do this.
After discussing his recommendation with the family, Commonwealth's attorney Bill Sloan said an agreement was reached, and Jewell pleaded guilty to the charges Thursday, with the Commonwealth recommending a 20-year sentence and a lifelong registration as a sex offender.
So he will not be eligible for parole or shock probation or any kind of conditional discharge until he has served 85% of the 20 years.
Upon his release, Jewell will also be placed on 5 years of supervised probation.
I feel much better about it knowing that the victim's family is on board with this.
Sloan hopes the plea will provide a quicker path to healing for the family. In Pike County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Jewell returned to the Pike County Detention Center where he has been an inmate since February. He is expected to return to court for sentencing January 30th. President Joe Biden is pardoning 39 people just weeks before the end of his term, including a man from Kentucky. Edwin Allen Jones, a 60-year-old man from Paducah, pleaded guilty to nonviolent drug offenses. He served in the U.S. Army and volunteers for addiction recovery groups. Biden is also granting nearly 1,500 commutations. He says his administration is still reviewing clemency petitions. Last night, Governor Beshear proposed additional paid leave for executive branch state employees. Specifically, the proposition adds 6 additional weeks of paid leave for executive branch state employees who have serious health conditions or who are welcoming a new child through birth, adoption, or foster care. The Kentucky Center for Economic Policy argues paid leave will improve employee recruitment, retention, and productivity.
Children benefit in a lot of ways, both immediately and later into life. Mothers certainly benefit from it, both psychologically but also physically, and fathers actually benefit as well.
If approved, the new benefit could be available as early as the summer of 2025. The Department of Education is conducting road shows to offer district training on the Support Education Excellence in Kentucky, or SEEK funding program. The first event is set for this morning at SESC in London. That runs from 9 a.m. until noon. Their event is at Kentucky Valley Education Cooperative in Hazard next month. The SEEK funding program is a formula-driven allocation of state-provided funds to local school districts. The Department of Education will also have a series of accountability town halls. These are designed by the KDE to seek input from students, educators, families, and more to revamp the state's assessment and accountability systems. The first one of these is on January 7th, also at South Central Cooperative in London. You can find more about this on our website, WYMT.com. A few schools were closed or delayed this week because of the effects of Wednesday's snow. A big hazard that comes with driving near freezing temperatures is black ice. It is not easily seen, which could cause you to quickly lose control of your vehicle. Deputy Gilbert Achardo with the Laurel County Sheriff's Department says you should pay attention to the forecast before leaving your home.
Anything that's wet on the road is going to freeze, and it's just going to look like it's wet, but it's going to be super slick. It's going to be icy, and it's going to be very dangerous. And the problem with black ice is you're driving along on a perfectly clear road and you run across something that looks like water and it's ice, and you're traveling along at the speed limit, and you're very likely to lose control.
Achardo says if you do skid on black ice, you should avoid hitting the brake and then steer into the skid.
Along with the black ice that you could be encountering on the road, you won't have to be looking out for the fog. We will have those cold temperatures throughout the entirety of our region, but as you can see, fog will not be an issue. And for the rest of the day, we will be warming up, and you won't have to worry about much ice on the road or the snow on the grass as we're heading into those forecast highs, because we're getting significantly above that freezing mark with temperatures in the upper 40s and low 50s. So definitely going to be warming up significantly today. And as you're looking at the satellite and radar, well, there you go. Those clouds are starting to move into the area, and we'll continue to see that throughout your Friday. And by the time you're heading to these afternoon hours, you'll see even thicker cloud cover that will continue. Now for the next 12 hours, those temperatures will warm up, hitting that high temperature around that 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock hour. Madison.
All right, Megan, thank you. And thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Yesterday, the president-elect talked more in depth about their plan for inflation and what his plan to tackle the cost of groceries is.